Hello everybody, we return with the two Onslaught players tier list. Today we are ranking all the primary fires in Paladins. If you haven't seen it yet, last time we ranked all the passives in Paladins. It's been a little while, there was things going on both our ends. But we are back. Funny enough, today is a Blood Moon Eclipse, so we're all going to get some lifesteal tonight, but we're not doing the ultimate tier list, we're doing primaries. So on top of having every champion's normal primary, I also decided to put in talents that tweak your primary. So we have like Androxus Curse Revolver, Jenos Binary Star, Constorm Bullets, and Lex Death Hastens. We also have, you might notice, 3 portraits for 7, 2 for Octavia, and 2 for a couple other characters. Some characters have multiple primaries, and we will be ranking all of those as well.
Those are called the privileged bitches.
I was prepared for it this time. So we have our tiers. S tier is like godly, amazing. A tier is mostly good. B tier is like player dependent, can go either way. C tier is like mostly bad. And dies to sim, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Whoever's in that tier just dies to sim in a 1v1.
Yeah, so ideally most of the primaries should fall into the B category, but you know, we'll see as we go. So, starting off, we have Androxus Revolver. That's what it's called. This is a cursed 6-shot semi-automatic rifle that deals 520 damage.
Rifle?
Revolver, I'm sorry. God damn it. A cursed 520 damage every 0.36 seconds. I kind of hate this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I want to put it in C tier because on paper, it sounds really good. If I'm going to my DPS chart on my other computer, it does 1,444 DPS. Like, that is pretty good. You get lit up. Thing is, this weapon has spread. It has horrible damage fall-off. Like, oh, the damage fall-off is rough on that weapon. And the other one is you have to keep clicking each time, so you have to go. Like, that's annoying. We don't want to do that. And also the reload I find is pretty lengthy on Androxus. Gets you killed. What is the reload? Reload is... It doesn't tell me on the Paladins wiki, so we don't know. But it's long. So we'll put it on C. It's not accurate. It has low damage at range. And even when you're close, it's weird to use. So, next up we have everybody's favorite, Cursed Revolver, where it changes your revolver to shoot once every half a second for 600 damage for a DPS of 1,200. But the big one is your fall off is improved, the weapon is automatic now, and there's no spread on it. So wherever you shoot is where you hit.
So basically an ambassador.
Yeah. I feel like this is like the definition of a player dependent one. But I feel like more often than not, I get lit up with this. Do you think it's A or B tier, Alex? I don't think it's S.
I don't really play Androxus, so I have no idea.
I'm gonna put it in A. I feel like people get lit up by that. Up next, we got Ash. With, what is this called? Let's find out. This is called the Burst Cannon. Fire a burst of shrapnel every 0.9 seconds that explodes to deal 400 damage in a small area. And going back to my DPS charts, Ash has some of the lowest DPS in the game. 444.4. I feel like it's good against clumped up enemies, but when you're in a 1v1, you're just like tickling the enemy so slowly.
Basically.
And the thing is, like, Ash is more of an off-tank, and a lot of the off-tanks tend to have, like, better damage. Like, do we want to put this... I don't think it's, like, dies to sim tier bad, because at least you have some range, you have AoE damage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, like, that good. I'm gonna put it above Androxus Revolver in C tier. Alright, up next we got Atlas with the Chrono Cannon. This is a shotgun, but you could charge it up to fire like a sniper rifle. It does 840 damage And the longer you charge it up, the smaller the spread gets. And also, this does not have damage fall off. At least the sniper shot doesn't. Like, I kind of want to put this in S. It's not the most damage per second, far from it. Like, you're not gonna be getting lit up, but it's so versatile. And it's on, in my opinion, the best character in the game's kit. Like, I don't know. You think it's S or A, Alex?
I think it's us. I mean...
You have everything. You have the shotgun for close range. You have a sniper rifle to bully enemies in the backline who might try to poke you out. You have 6 shots in it, I believe. And there's certain cards that give you ammo back if you hit a fully charged shot, so...
Combine that with his kit, even though we're not talking about that, you know?
Yeah, it does a lot. I think it's a great primary fire. I tend to value versatility, too, over, like, raw damage. That's why Androxus is down here. Next up, we have Azan with Judgment. Because he's such a judgy little bitch. Let me see. The Judgment is you have 3 hammer throws, 2 mediums, and a heavy. The medium attack does 525 damage, while the heavy does 630. The firing is...
What is this fighting game character looking as? Like comboing 2 mediums into heavy? Goddamn.
Medium combo with the heavy, yeah. Let's see. The pulse fire between medium projectiles is 1.1 seconds, and the heavy is 1.3. Now, if you miss 1 hammer in your combo, your cauterize is just gone. Like, you just lost applying cauterize, they might get healed up. Also, recently introduced, this now has damage fall off, and it's kind of harsh, I gotta say. Like, it's in line with other front lines, but it's still kind of harsh damage fall off. Projectile speed's okay. When you're at full ire, and we actually forgot to mention this in the passives tier list, when you're at full ire, you'll get bonus weapon damage, and the hammers explode, because... reasons. I think this is, like... I kind of want to put it in an A. Below Cursed Revolver.
Yeah.
Because, like, once you get the exploding shot, you're not doing a ton of damage, but you are, like, consistently applying cauterize. And it's decent damage mid-range. It's also Azan, so... yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh crap, I forgot to put Barik's Tinkering in here! We hate that talent. Put it in Dice the Sim tier. Up next we have Barik with the Blunderbuss, which is a shotgun, does 500 damage every second. So 500 DPS. Pretty decent close range. At far ranges, it does struggle. I believe they did change the fall off at one point, so I think the minimum damage you could do is like 100, which is awful. But you know, you're the close range point tank, so it does its job. I think I'm gonna put it B. And I forgot Tinkering, y'all, I'm sorry. I legitimately forgot about that talent. But I'm putting it in Dice to Sim tier, if it were here. And
Me too.
what Tinkering is your Blunderbuss isn't a shotgun anymore. It now fires a projectile that does 550 damage. Now you might be thinking, wow, a projectile that does more damage? Why wouldn't you want that? Well, there's damage fall off on it, and it is harsh. Like, I don't know why you would even pick this. The idea, I guess, is to have a weapon at range. Meanwhile, it gets neutered at range because of the damage fall off, so yeah. You also can't headshot with it like you can with the default Blunderbuss. So yeah, Dice to Sim.
Fucking Barik learns buckshot ammo.
I forgot
Not
Betty.
buckshot, slug shots.
Oh my god, I forgot Betty Labuba.
Oh.
We'll be right back. Okay, y'all, we are back. I had to completely make a new tier list because I was missing Barik Blunderbuss, which we put in Dice to Sim, and I was missing Betty La Bomba. Her primary is Grenade Launcher. You do 600 damage every 0.6 seconds, so 1000 DPS. The grenades do roll and they will explode after 2 seconds, dealing smaller damage, 510. But the thing is, it doesn't say how big the range is, but I will tell you the explosion AoE is really small. So it's more of like just a normal projectile as opposed to like a blaster's projectile. It's still fun, but it's definitely not like... You're not really lighting up groups akin to like Junkrat or Demoman TF2. I mean, it does feel good. It's a pretty satisfying weapon. I'm gonna put this in B. I'm gonna put it above Barik. Like, I don't feel like it's... I mean, sometimes you could do some cool, like, trick shots, though, that, like, other characters can't really do.
Shots, yeah.
Where you bounce the grenade off the wall and, like, hit somebody for the direct. You know what? Low A tier. Below Azan.
Yeah, low A tier is good.
Alright, up next we got Bomb King now, with the sticky bombs, where this is actually a 2-part primary fire, because the normal primary just throws the bombs. You have to use your secondary fire to detonate the bombs, which is actually kind of a hindrance because of that. Bomb King gets gypped on a secondary ability, because his primary uses 2 ability slots.
Basically, like Demoman Sticky Launcher, but worse.
Yeah, pretty much. The sticky bombs do 10 damage on impact and 850 when you detonate them, so 860 total. The DPS chart here, Bomb King does 1,228 DPS, which is pretty good. But one thing, I'm gonna put these in C tier, and the main reason for that is servers. Like, if the Paladin servers are ever having a heart attack... Oh, that's fine. Oops. Sorry, y'all. There's an extra Imani here. I was wondering why... Oops. Whatever. But, if the server is having a heart attack, it can be, like, impossible to play Bomb King, because the projectiles just... I don't know what is up with the coding on these, but it's not like other more modern projectiles in the game. Like, you'll throw and, like, it'll show you hitting somebody, and nothing happens. Also, like Betty, the explosion radius is pretty small. There is a talent to fix that, but I feel like you shouldn't need a talent to make your primary useful. So we'll put it in C. And next up we have Bulk from Glory Hero NFT Wars with... I think it's just called Shotgun, yeah. Shotgun does 700 DPS, you can headshot with it. It's pretty much the same thing as Barik's weapon, except you have 1 less shot in it. And actually, big detriment, you have to manually reload this gun 1 shell at a time. I'm putting it... I mean, it's literally the same thing as Barik, just worse. It has slightly better damage, but the reload is annoying. So we'll put it B, below Barik. I think I'm liking where we're putting things so far. You know what? If you guys have any different opinions, feel free to get pissed off in the comments below. The YouTube algorithm loves that. Let's see, who's next? Up next, we got everybody's favorite, Senseed. I mean, Cassie. They actually fixed that bug, you know, Alex?
What bug?
Cassie's name isn't censored anymore in the chat.
Oh, unfortunate.
This is Crossbow.
Actually, that should have just been a feature.
It really should have been. Just censor Cassie. We don't need her in the game.
Exactly.
We don't need her crossbow either. 680 damage every 0.75 seconds for a DPS of 906.6. By itself, the primary is fine. It outputs good damage. It's when you combo it with her other abilities that it feels annoying. Mainly the blast shot, because that's like a 1,300 combo, I think. With Impulse, it's 1,300, but by itself, it's okay. I think it's like a definition of a B-tier weapon. So, you want to laugh? Up next, we have Corvus with the Officer's Pistol. This does 74 damage every 0.7 seconds for a DPS of 1,057.10. A support champion has a higher DPS than, like, a good chunk of the champions on this list already.
That's fucking hilarious.
And you know what's funny? He already had the highest DPS in the support class at 1000, and they decided to buff his weapon by 4 damage because Corvus has air quotes problems that aren't related to his healing. What? Meanwhile, he has the best support weapon. I'm putting it. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna put it below Cursed Revolver. Controversial pick. I know a lot of people think this primary doesn't do anything, but if you're cycling your heals well and just pumping damage when your heal's on cooldown, you can shred through some tanks. 1057 DPS, that is nothing to scoff at. From a little support who tells you to stop dying. Up next, we have Dredge with the Cursed Howitzer. Don't stand in front of it. That's a Left 4 Dead 2 joke, in case y'all didn't get it. Friendly reminder that Chris stood in front of the howitzer and died.
Oh, that was a great time.
Yeah, that was funny. So this does 850 damage every 0.7 seconds, DPS 1214, and this has a special feature where when you reload, you fire out one last projectile for, I believe it's another 850 damage. Right? Hold on. The reload projectile also does 850, yeah. The downside of having that bonus blast attack is the reload is so long at base. I think the reload's like 3 seconds at base. Has a reload time of 2.2 seconds. No way, that's 2.2 seconds. That is the longest 2.2 seconds of my life. But the thing is, this is so good at area denial. Like,
It is.
the thing is, though, I think these have a harsher arc than Betty's grenade launcher, so at range you're struggling. Either that or they're slower. But, like, in close range, my god. You've seen it, Alex. You've seen, like, Primal Court, Dredge just spamming these things, reloading with Scuttle.
I was one of them.
I'm putting it low A tier. I'm gonna put it below Betty. Oh yeah, you also can do ricochets like you can with Betty. The difference is Betty's projectiles will roll and then explode, whereas Dredge, they do this like weird floating thing where they'll like float up for 2 seconds and then explode like that. But you don't have to worry about reduced damage. They still do full damage. So, you know what? It's still kind of like a zoning tool. If you miss, it's just gonna float there. Up next, we got Drogoz with rocket launcher. 850 damage every second. Fairly good splash radius on this one. Reload time's okay. I mean, it's really just okay. There's nothing to say here. I'll put it in B below Cassie. I think Cassie's a little more... I don't know. You could hit multiple targets with this, though. Who's better, the Burst Bitch or Abandoned at Birth?
I don't really care for neither.
Alright, hot take. I'm putting Drogoz above. Up next, we have Evie with literally the same weapon as Drogoz, except the splash radius is not as generous. It is very small splash, and the splash damage is a lot lower. I know, like, you could hit as low as, like, 150, I think. Also, the projectile speed might be slower on Evie, so it's literally, like, the same thing. I'm gonna put Evie below Cassie, though. I don't know, you're the Evie player, Alex. What do you think of Evie's primary? B tier?
I'm pretty biased, but that's only because I can land most of my shots, so I just put in, like, low A tier.
You think it's better than Drogo's rocket launcher?
Yeah, when it's in the right hands. But that applies for, like, anything, really.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where to put Cassie now. I guess Cassie should be, like, slap in the middle. She's, like, the starter champion in this game, right? Or is that is that Victor? I don't remember.
I think that's Victor in the tutorial, yeah.
I'll put it like that. Drogoz Evie, then Cassie. We could always move things later. And I guess we forgot to say this is the end-all be-all. If you get pissed off about the rankings, you know, tough, that's life. Sometimes people say things you don't agree with. Make sure to comment below how much you don't agree with this, by the way. Up next, we got Fernando with Flamethrower. Sorry, Flame Lance. Flame Lance. A flamethrower that deals 35 damage every 0.1 second and applies an effect that deals 200 damage over 2 seconds. 450 DPS. You're also slowed while using it. The range is pathetic. Dies to Sim. I hate this primary fire with a passion, so much so that this primary fire made me stop playing Paladins the first time I played it in like 2016, and I didn't touch it again for like over a year because I made the mistake of playing this mistake of a champion for my first game because I was like, ooh, flamethrower like Pyro from TF2, and I remember vividly, I remember my first match. It was Jaguar Falls, and I'm lighting up like 3 people. I know I'm lighting up like a Makoa and an enemy support in the bot matches, and nothing's happening. I turn to Alex and I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Why is my primary not killing them? No, it's just Fernando's primary is that garbage. I mean, if multiple people clump up, like, really close to each other, you can light multiple people on fire, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Up next, we got Furia with Pyre Blade. Does 330 damage every 0.5 seconds, but it has the added benefit of when you're at full wrath, your attack speed can increase by up to 30%. So that's 330 damage every point something, 0.35 seconds, I think, which is like 900 something DPS. It's technically listed as a shotgun, but it doesn't feel like a shotgun, I gotta say, because one pellet always comes out of the center, and I think your damage is based on that. So,
it's a wacky sword gun.
Yeah. I would put it in A, because fully charged up, it, like, packs a punch. But if no one's near you and you lose your wrath, which decays really fast, you kind of just die. I'm gonna put it below Cassie, above Barik. Oh god, I forgot about... Grohk doesn't have an SFM model, so I had to use this. Up next, we have... Up next, we have Grohk with... I believe this is called Lightning Staff, right? Lightning Staff, yeah. Does 75 damage every 0.1 second for a DPS of 750. But the longer you're attacking somebody, your damage will scale up to 90 damage a tick. So 900 DPS. It does suffer from fall off, but I mean 900 DPS from a support, that is not too shabby like Corvus. You do have to ramp it up, unlike Corvus, which just gets it for free. The range is pretty good, I would say. It's very accurate. Hot take, I'm gonna put it below Corvus. Above Azan, below Corvus. We have Grohk with the eye over there. God. Up next we have the tree. With his little throwing axe. So,
just sidestep it and he dies.
Yeah, so the throwing axe is a unique projectile where the farther away you are from an enemy, the more damage it does.
Basically reverse damage fall off.
Yeah, reverse damage fall off. The lowest damage it could do is 300 for a DPS of 333.3. The most DPS it could do is... Hold on one sec. It'll do 833.3 DPS at far distance because each axe is hitting for 750, which pretty decent until you realize 2 major things. One is that Grover needs to play near his team to actually heal them. Oh god, I have to see if they changed this on the Paladins wiki. I remember at one point it said Grover's whole kit is like a juxtaposition. You want to be far away to get the most damage with your primary, but you need to be close to your teammates to heal them. So, also the other huge detriment is flankers. Flankers like to come in your safe space.
Woohoo!
Are you going to be deterring any flankers with 333 DPS? No, the hell you are not. Are you going to get lit up with your giant-ass hitbox? Yes, you are. Ooh, it's a Dice to Sim, though.
Yes.
I'm putting it at the top of Dice to Sim. It does have some cool moments at farther ranges, yes. But that massive downside of struggling in close range, that is huge. Alright, up next we got Imani, Frostbolts. I accidentally put 3 Imanis in here, I'm sorry y'all. Frostbolts deal 410 damage every half a second for a DPS of 820. The Frostbolts will also slow enemies by 15% for 1 second when they are hit. Now, despite being an Imani main, the Frostbolts are my least favorite thing about her kit. The projectile size is so small. Especially when compared to the Pyreball, which we'll get to. But even then, when you're hitting your targets, like, there's a lot of characters who can do more DPS than you. Like Corvus, Grohk, outdamage you. And, like, is the slow really worth it? I mean, sometimes it sets up cool engagements. Other times it doesn't. Do I think Frostbolts are better than... I'm gonna put Imani Frostbolts... I'm gonna put it below Cassie. In, like, the middle of B tier. DPS-wise, it's, like, middle of the roster anyway, which it's a damage character. Should be higher, just saying. Should be higher or easier to hit the projectiles, at least. They are so damn small. Up next, we got my favorite, Imani Pyreball. This is a chargeable projectile. Takes 1.2 seconds to fully charge. It does 1,000 damage when you hit it, but there is a half a second downtime before you can charge your next attack. So, in reality, your DPS is really low with the Pyreball. It's 588.2. But you have to consider that most of the time your damage is going to be coming in a huge burst of 1,000. Also, the projectile size of these things, they're huge. Is this an A tier? I mean, it's just a chargeable projectile. Doesn't do anything special.
Doesn't really need to do much of anything special, really.
The strongest thing about this is how good it is at, as an anti-flank tool. Because most flanks only have like 2,000 HP or less. So you hit one of these and the flank's at half HP. They can't engage. Which is incredibly strong. I'm going to put it top of B tier. Like, I don't think it doesn't... Now I'm, like, debating on all of these. Like, is Betty that good to be A tier? I mean, it does have strategies where you can ricochet, yeah.
Didn't we say we're gonna switch things around at the end?
Yeah, we'll double-check everything, because now I'm, like, debating on Betty and Dredge over here. And Azan, honestly. I'm debating on all of these. Alright, up next we have Inara with the Stone Spear.
More like stone tickles.
Yeah. This does 225 damage. You fire 3 sharp stone projectiles across the battlefield every 1.25 seconds that each do 225 damage. The DPS on this is exactly 500. I gotta be honest, I don't really like these things. Like, at close range, you know, if you hit somebody with, like, the cripple, you could follow up decently well if it's a flank or something. But if you're facing another frontline, it is just, like, a battle of the tickles. That's really what main tank battles come down to. The tickle battles, because a lot of the main tanks have really crappy primary fires, and Inara's no exception. That's definitely not better than Bomb King.
My favorite part is that during the battles of tickles, even Symmetra would die to those.
Ooh. Listen, you can't compare Overwatch tanks to Paladins. Imani tanks are like damage heroes in disguise. Alright. Reinhardt fucking 3-swinging you. What is this? You know what? I'm gonna move Imani to the bottom because she's gonna annoy me sitting over there. So, I'll put Inara low C tier I hate that Androxus weapon so much, so I'm keeping that in bottom of the seat here. Up next, we have Io Lightbow. Does 400 damage every 0.6 seconds for a DPS of 666.66. You have 10 shots. It flies pretty fast, so projectile speed's really good on this. It just feels like a good weapon, honestly. It's nice to throw in a few shots when your team's healed out. It feels responsive. I'm gonna put it above Evie. What do you think?
Yeah.
Imani, Drogoz. Like, so far I'm happy with our B tier. And, like, B and below I'm pretty happy. Alright. God, what did I do to Jenos in this one? Up next we have Jenos with arguably the coolest named weapon in the game, the Star Splitter. Like, that is such a cool weapon name. It is a SMG, does 108 damage every 0.13 seconds for a DPS of 830.7. So you have more DPS than Imani Frostbolts. Nice. I'm not bitter about that, totally, no.
Woohoo.
The damage fall off sucks on this, and there is spread to account for. That being said, at mid-range it's okay. Like, if you get dived, if you play your positions right, you can handle flankers. But there's a lot of times where you will get dived by, like, multiple people at once. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to do enough damage before I die. No, definitely not better than Cassie. Furia. I think it's better than Barik. I'm not sure about Furia. You think Furia's shotgun sword thing is better than Jenos' Star Splitter? Or other way around?
I think Furia's is better just because it's like, you know, kind of a shotgun.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. Do I think Imani Frostbolts are better? You know what? Even though I hate them, I do think Frostbolts are better than Star Splitter. Alright, up next we have Binary Star, the talent. This changes your SMG to more of like a Lian rifle, where it now does 360 damage every 0.4 seconds, but it cuts your ammo to 10, down from 35, I think Jenos has normally. The fall-off is not as harsh on this one as well, so you can poke more reliably. I believe you do have lower DPS in this, though. Yeah, you have 720 DPS compared to 830. It does pack a punch against flankers, though. Like, flankers are definitely a little more scared to jump you. You land some headshots with this, they're gone. It's definitely like a skill-dependent one, though. I'm gonna put it above Imani Frostbolts, but below Cassie. Because Cassie's just like, I guess, the old reliable. She'll be our baseline, I guess. God damn it. I can't believe... What world did Cassie become a baseline of balance? Alright, up next we have Khan with the Heavy Repeater, which does 190 damage every 0.26 seconds for a DPS of 730.7. I mean, it's okay. It's his default weapon, the one that fires slower, so I mean, it's like, it's okay. It does have spread, it has damage fall off. You can headshot with it, it's hit scan. I think Jenos Star Splitter is a bit better. Like, it doesn't pack that much of a punch. But then we get to Storm of Bullets, where the weapon fires... Hold on. Increase your attack speed by 40%, but reduce your damage per shot by 25%. Overall, this is a DPS increase, because you will now be doing 916.6 DPS on a front line who can play so aggressive. This primary fire is really good. I'm putting it... Hot take, I'm putting it above Corvus. Just because it's on a front line who can actually stand his ground. And you could also put the shield up to bide time. You can heal yourself, you can stun people. I know we're not talking about the base, the abilities. We'll be doing that next time, but... I think Storm Bolts is really good. It could be downright oppressive if it's in good hands. Up next, we got everybody's favorite cringe lord, Kinessa, with her first primary fire, the carbine rifle. This is the... It is called
She's
the carbine
definitely
rifle.
gonna remember the shit talking.
Is it called the carbine rifle? I swear it's called the carbine rifle. Whatever. It does 180 damage every 0.15 seconds for a DPS of 1,200. There is spread. You do have a pretty limited ammo pool. It's 24 shots. I find myself reloading a lot with this. It's weird because the numbers sound really good with this, but then you play with it and it doesn't feel that good. So, ooh. Hot take. Do we think Kinessa Carbine Rifle is better than Jenos Star Splitter?
I don't know.
You don't even play Kinessa, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Snapping necks.
Unlike you, I just refuse to torture myself.
I'm snapping my own neck and cashing my life insurance check.
True.
Hot take, I'm putting it below Jenos, because Kinessa has lower than usual base HP, and her normal means of escape is really slow without a talent. So yeah, we'll put it over there. Next we have Kinessa Sniper Rifle, which, on the contrary, I think this is really good. It's a chargeable weapon, so the longer you charge it, the more damage you do. Up to 1,200, the highest base damage for a weapon in the game. It can headshot for 1,800 damage, which can one-shot poor Evie. And it's good. Like, a good Kinessa is downright oppressive. I'm putting it at the top. Ooh, is this S tier, though?
I don't know.
I'm putting it at the top of A tier, y'all. It's definitely like a skill check. You need to be skilled to use it, but even if you just hit body shots, 1,200 damage is really good. That's a lot. It's not like in TF2 where you hit a body shot on Sniper and it's 50 damage. Like, they just laugh it off. No, that hurts. So, up next we have another multi-primary fire user. This is Spinning Koga. First up we have the... Where's... Alright, first up we have the submachine guns. Fires 2 rounds every 0.06 seconds, each dealing 38 damage. Guns have a maximum ammo of 70 and fully effective up to 75 units. The range on these things is really good. I feel like a lot of times the SMGs have non-existent damage fall off. What's the DPS on these things? Koga SMGs, 1,181 DPS. You can kill most targets in 2 seconds. Feels pretty good, and there are ammo cards to keep your guns topped up. I'm putting it in A. I'm gonna put it above Grohk, behind Corvus. Just because Corvus can fire for so long compared to Koga. Who has to... Ooh, I don't know. Is Koga's SMGs better than Corvus? Nah. No. Wait. I'm more comfortable with that. On the contrary, we have Koga Claws, which I'm not a fan of. The Claws deal 650 damage every 0.55 seconds, slightly higher DPS, 1,266. These are short-range projectiles. Like, the projectile will actually just flat out poof out of existence after a certain distance, which is so annoying. Especially after you use the SMGs, like, you pepper someone down from range, you're like, okay, I'm out of ammo, let me switch to my Claws, get the slash on them, and then your projectile doesn't reach. And not to mention that you have to switch to your Dragon Stance, which consumes energy that you use for your abilities. So, you're on a timer when you use the Claws. On top of that, in Dragon Stance, you can't use Koga's arguably best ability, the Shadow Step, to dodge incoming fire. So you're kind of like a sitting duck there. I'm gonna put it bottom of B. I don't like the Claws.
Me neither.
Yeah, I mean, there is a talent where you could stay in the Dragon Stance longer, but then you're draining health. There's just such a downside for using these things. And you're not even getting that much more DPS than the SMGs.
You basically just die faster when you use that talent.
Yeah, you can't be evasive at all. You can't use your like shell zip. You're like, oh, like Genji Shimada over here dashing all over the place. Tracer blinks. I remember everybody thought Koga was Tracer when he first came out. I just remembered that. God. Up next we have Lex, who pretty much has the same weapons as Androxus, both default and talent-wise. His default is the Magnums. Deal automatic Magnums that bring the law. That is not me adding that joke, that is the official description. Dealing 320 damage every 0.25 seconds. Has a DPS of 1,280. It does hurt up close. And this is going to hurt me saying this because Lex was my first main in this game. But I don't like these things. Like, I'm putting them with Andro. You know what, though? I'm putting it top of C tier. I don't think it's as bad as Andro. It has the same problem as Androxus, where the fall-off is ridiculous on it. The spread sucks on it. And the biggest one that Andro doesn't have is your screen shakes to hell and back when using these things. There is an earthquake going on every time Lex fires his weapons. Yeah, it's like I hate weapons that fight you as the player. Like, I'm trying to fight the enemy. I don't need my weapon fighting me as well. That is annoying. And I used to love these things because way back in the day, you could play Paladins in third person. And in third person, there was no screen shake. And the weapon was usable. All you had to account for was the spread. Recently, I do know they did reduce the screen shake a little bit. Not that much in my eyes. But the big one is the weapon is automatic, so you could just hold down the primary fire button instead of having to go click, 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 like you have to with Androxus. So that's nice. But yeah, not a big fan. And then we have the talent Death Hastens, where it cuts your ammo in half, and your shots now deal 680 damage every 0.7 seconds. So this is Release Lex's weapon. Lower DPS, actually, 971.42. But the fall-off on these things is really good. It's just you have to be very mindful of your ammo. Like, I'm gonna put these... I think these are really good in the right hands, though. Like Curse Revolver. But the ammo count sucks. And I think Androxus just has better abilities, because they're essentially the same weapon. Lex fires a little slower. But essentially the same weapon, but Andro has actual flanker mobility. Unlike Lex, who could just reroll his target. Hot take. I'm going to put these at the top of B tier. I do think they're player dependent, but you can pull off a lot of stuff when you get your skill cap down. So, skill check. Which everybody loves to tell me. It's just a skill check.
Skill issue.
Stop playing Symmetra, you're not skilled enough anymore. Up next we have Lian with the Heirloom Rifle. Does 400 damage every 0.45 seconds.
More like bitch rifle.
Fuck her. Although this is without the auto-aim, this is just the normal gun. And I mean, it's okay. DPS-wise, it does 888.8. Crazy 8s for a crazy character. It does have fall-off damage. I don't think it's as crazy intense. I mean, I think it's 400 damage. I mean, it can't be really that intense. Fully effective up to 90 units away. Yeah, yeah, it has decent range on this thing. Has 12 shots, so you have a lot of leniency there. And I believe you can increase your ammo count with a card to like 17 shots. Hold on, how many shots does this thing have? Oh, sorry, it has an ammo count of 8. And you can increase it to 13 with cards. I think it's just like a B tier weapon. I'm gonna put it... Ooh. Hot take. Which of the middle of Bs do you think is better? Cassie Crossbow or Lian Heirloom Rifle?
Lian Heirloom Rifle.
Lian can headshot with this, Cassie can't. But Cassie doesn't have damage fall off.
Yeah, I like headshots more.
Alright, we'll put Lian above. Up next, we have Lilith with what is this called? Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. She's the newest champion.
Huge.
Heart of Crimson, where you have your little Rubik's Cube, and you fire like some blood. A bolt of blood deals 625 damage per shot, and you have 4 ammo. It does have damage fall off on a projectile, the only projectile in the support class to have damage fall off, I might add. The projectile speed is kind of slow, and yeah, it's a slow, sluggish weapon. I don't really like it. There is a card to make the projectile speed faster, but to do that, you cut your ammo in half, so you only have 2 shots with that, which sucks. I'm putting it in Dice to Sim tier. Hot take, I'm putting the newest champion in Dice to Sim tier for her weapon. It never feels like... She has like a tank weapon, because she is a tank with 4,000 HP with Veteran. So, yeah, I'm putting in Dice to Sim. And I guess we also, if we're going to go back, we'll just like quickly jot this down for the passives, because Lilith technically has a passive, where instead of normal cooldowns, she uses her blood health to cast certain abilities, and her blood health goes on top of the normal HP, and she has a lot more HP than most supports. She has like 3,250 compared to other supports 2,002. I would put that at B. Having more health is nice, but the Swarm especially uses like 800 health. Like, imagine if any other champion had to use 800 health just to cast an ability down. Like, ugh. So, up next, we have everybody's favorite schlurp, Maeve, with daggers.
Daggers.
You fire 2 daggers to impale your enemies, each dealing 400 damage. DPS on these is a clean 800. The projectiles do arc, which can be a learning curve for some. You also don't have to reload. There's just like a little downtime. It's just like an Imani Powerball, where there's a little... The time between 2 daggers... Okay, it doesn't tell you when you like get another set of daggers to throw, but I think it's once every second. What do you think about this one, Alex? You used to play Maeve.
I think it's pretty decent, actually. Like, it
Would you
gets
say
the
B
job
tier?
done, really. Yeah.
Alright, where are we putting it? Are we putting it above?
I'd say right below Evie.
Below Evie.
Yeah, kinda.
You think Lian is worse? By a little bit?
Yeah, because if you can land all of those shots combined with the talent, I'm pretty sure you can do so much with that character.
Oh yeah, and you could also literally be a sniper in some games.
True.
Yeah, she has actually, you know what, I do agree with you, because she has amazing poke potential for a flanker. And in case those of you who don't know what poking is, it's fighting at range to whittle enemies down before you come in close for the final blow. And typically a lot of the flankers struggle with this. We'll get to Vatu in a minute, well, towards the end. But since she doesn't have damage fall off, you don't have to worry about that. If you can hit your shots, you're getting like amazing poke damage. You might not even have to go in to confirm the kill. You just whittle them down. So up next we have a primary fire that has had its numbers changed quite a lot since I started playing. This is Makoa's Cannon.
Cannon.
The older champions have the lamest names on their weapons, sorry. This does 575 damage every 1 second. It is a projectile. You have an ammo count of 5, and it does have damage fall off, and the projectile arcs a little bit. I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest fan of this thing.
Me neither.
I mean, you can kind of poke people at range. I think Ash is just better, though. Like, because Ash has the AoE for when people get close. When people get close with this, you're just doing, like... You're shooting them. Like, at least Ash has that benefit. Although she sucks at range and has low DPS, she has the benefit of the AoE damage. You know, if multiple people decide to swarm her, they're each going to get pelted a little bit. Whereas Makoa, it's like, boo. I shot you.
Show you.
So yeah, I think C tier's fine for that. Up next, we got Maldamba, which you would be surprised to even think he has a primary fire, considering most Maldambas for some reason never shoot you. This is the Spitting Cobra. Fire a glob of venom from your Cobra every 0.55 seconds, deals 400 damage, reloading, tosses your Cobra for 200 damage, and stuns the enemy for 1 second. The reload time is 2.3 seconds, and the DPS on this is 727.27. I think having a stun on your primary fire is really good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's S tier because the actual primary fire is like meh. It doesn't have damage fall off, so you don't have to worry about that, but there is an arc. So you have to account for that. I definitely want to put it in A, because skilled Maldambas with that stun, oh my god.
I'm surprised skilled Madamas even exist.
Yeah, most of them just go right ignored and just forget about it. I'm gonna put it A tier right below Kinessa Sniper. I just think the stun effect is so good. Because that's like an ability, but it's on your primary fire. And you could just like toss it willy-nilly, you get Deft Hands 3, you stun one guy, reload again, stun another. Really good. So, up next, I was debating on doing like 3 different slots for this champion. This is Moji, who has 2 primary fires, but the best way to utilize them is using them together. So, first is the Familiar Spit, where Moji's Familiar spits out a projectile, does 300 damage every 0.7 seconds. Horrible poke damage for a flank, by the way. Then we have the Familiar Spray, which does, I'll tell you right now, it's a short range, essentially like a flamethrower attack, and it deals 428.57 damage. Both of those numbers sound horrible by themselves. And it's because you want to be using both of the primaries together. So the way you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to use the Familiar Spray on somebody for a second. How is this? Hold on, y'all. I'm just looking at something. Tell me when the marks are... I think you put a mark on an enemy every 0.1 second. So you have to hit somebody with the spray for 1 second, and then shoot your primary spit, and the spit's damage will be upped from 300 to 1,000. And if you are properly timing both of your primary fires this way, Moji actually has the highest DPS in the game by a huge margin at 1,803.5. You can light up tanks if you are behind cover playing safely with this. But there's some downsides. 1 is this is very short range. 2 is Moji's huge. Okay. 3 is enemies can move around to, dodge the spray, which stops you from putting on marks. And did I mention Moji's huge? Ooh, this is a really tough one. Because there's going to be people who, think Moji has the best damage in the game. She's S tier. And then there's others who's like, the range sucks, you don't have poke damage. I think we'll compromise, we'll go in the middle. I'll put it below Imani Frostbolts. What do you think? Is that a good place, Alex?
Yeah.
Because you do have amazing potential, it's just the limitations of the character really hold her back. So, once again, Octavia has multiple abilities in our tier list. She has a scoped and unscoped fire. This is coming from her weapon called the Marksman Rifle. So the scoped fire does 450 damage every 0.3 seconds, which is the second highest DPS in the game, actually, at 1,500. Hot take, I think this is I don't know if this is an S tier weapon. Because you do have to tunnel vision to get that. And your screen does shake, it bobs up and down when you're shooting, it's annoying, the recoil. It does have damage fall off, though it's not super harsh. but you do get out-sniped by snipers, and at close range you do kind of struggle. She's like the perfect mid-ranger, this one.
So basically the perfect poker.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it A tier below Kinessa. The damage per second is insane on this thing, and if you have a team that doesn't have shields or doesn't know how to play around shields, and she's just sitting on high ground, you die. Your team goes like that. But, you know, in sniper battles, the snipers do win. In close range, when a flank shows up, the unscoped primary does not cut it, which we will get to right now. So the unscoped primary fire does 250 damage every 0.2 seconds for a DPS of 1,250. You have to click each time to use it, which anytime that's a factor, it's going down in points for me. I hate that. Click, 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 click. It's so annoying. There is spread on this, and the spread makes it like impossible to use this at range. It's really just your close range panic button. I hate this thing so much. It does decent damage though. Like sometimes people will jump you and it'll surprise me. I'm like, wow, I got away with that? Like it is pretty much like Lex's weapon. Except you don't have insane screen shake. Hot take, we put it at the top of C. There's gonna be a lot of hot takes this one, huh? I think it's better than Lex's primary fire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm talking a lot. I have to keep going for water. Up next, we have Pip with Potion Launcher. Lobs an explosive projectile, deals 600 damage every second. The AoE is actually pretty generous on this. 12 units. It's fully effective up to 3 units and hits enemies up to 12 units away. Oh, sorry. 13 unit explosion radius. So it's actually bigger than Bomb King and Betty. The damage per second is kind of low, though, so we do have to factor that in. Reload time's okay, 6 shots. I think Imani's frost bolts are better. I don't know, this primary isn't really, like, annoying until you fight a Catalyst Pip where they have the bonus damage. And you slow. Catalyst. He is a Catalyst, yeah! I'm not Sonic. I think I'm going to put it below Frostbolts, but above Moji in general. Like, I think Frostbolts are a good mid-tier as well. Just like, okay. Up next, we got Raum with a coolly named weapon, finally, the Hellfire Gatling. This is a minigun, does 40 damage every 0.05 seconds for a DPS of 800. And it also has the passive where you gain soul armor based on how many hits you get. You are slowed severely while using this. There is a massive spread on this weapon. There also is a wind-up time, but there's an ability that negates the wind-up time, so that's like an irrelevant stat. But the big one, and I mean really big, is you have a huge magazine size of 500 bullets. So you just plop yourself on point, you use the ability that revs you up instantly and causes you not to consume ammo for 3 seconds so you can fire even longer, and you just sit there pumping out damage. I mean, you ambush the squishy with this, you kill them.
Basically.
I think it's better than Corvus Officer's Pistol. I do think Koga SMGs is a little better because you can move with them. You can... The spread's tighter. But yeah, Raum Hellfire Gatling, pretty good. I mean, that's literally Raum's character. You play Raum because you want to shoot people. Alright, so up next...
And also to hear him choke on a pretzel. Oh. Actually, no, that just sounds like... That's just him getting punched in the stomach.
Oh yeah, by the way, y'all, before we move on, I actually just finished modding a tank Raum into Left 4 Dead 2. So... Next time we do Left 4 Dead 2, you're going to hear Raum in there. Alright. Next, we have Ray with her primary fire Sigil. You launch a projectile from your hands, dealing 450 damage every 0.7 seconds. DPS is Slightly lower than Io at 642.8. This thing has some upsides. It does have a pretty massive downside in my eyes. The projectiles are really slow on this. So if you want to fight at range, you have to really lead your target with this. But on the upside, the projectiles are huge. So oftentimes an enemy will be hiding around the corner and you could still hit them. That's pretty good. And also, when a flanker dives you, you have the huge projectiles. You really don't have to worry about missing. Don't think it's an A tier. I'm gonna put it... Hot take, I'm putting it above Imani Frostbolts. It's huge projectile. Not the most amazing damage-wise, but you can hold your own with that. And even better, because Ray's healing ability isn't a targeted one, you can be constantly throwing out primary fires left and right. And it does have some good cards, like if you hit a primary fire, you lower the cooldown on your healing. Very good. Up next we have Riva over here. We have Ruckus with, I think his primary is just called miniguns. Let's find out. Primary miniguns, yep. It's literally the same weapon as Raum. Same damage, 800 DPS. The spread is tighter, so you can fight at range a little bit better. You are slowed while using it, just like Raum. And you do have less ammo, 200 instead of 500. And you do have a slight wind-up time, not as bad as Raum, but there is no ability to bypass it. Also, it's Ruckus, and his defensive ability, I feel like, goes like that. I mean, it's literally... I don't like this thing. I feel like a lot of Ruckus players get lit up when using this. Like, it's weird because it's essentially the same weapon as Raum, but I don't feel right placing it in the same tier as him. Do you think Ruckus is an A tier, Alex?
No, because honestly, Raum's kit makes his primary fire better.
Yeah. Alright, another B. A lot of Bs. That's good, at least. It means most of the primaries are balanced, right?
A lot of bitches.
B for basics. I mean, you still can shoot for a long time. That is a benefit. Putting it below Cassie, above Binary Star. Why did I do that? Ruckus doesn't have an SFM model, y'all. I'm sorry. That was the best I could do. I gave him Diva's wig and whiskers. Whisker paint. Alright. Next up we have Saati, no, for real. With her primary fire, the hand cannon. Unfortunately, we reverted back to having lame-ass weapon names. Does 530 damage every 0.5 seconds, DPS of 1060. However, if you are at 4 pips or higher, you fire 10% faster for a DPS of 1177. Pretty good. Damage fall-off's pretty good. There's a little bit of recoil on this. Not too bad. It's basically Cursed Revolver Androxus, but better damage fall-off. Slightly less damage, but better damage fall-off. And for that, I'm going to be putting it above Cursed Revolver. If you have both of these in the same game, by the way, like I did in Ranked yesterday, good luck. Good luck. Oops. That is not fun. I was playing Betty against a Saati and a Cursed Revolver Andro. Every time I tried to dive bomb the back, I got popped. God. Up next we have Seris with her Soul Orbs. These do, hold on one sec. These do 210 damage every 0.3 seconds. This is a slow-moving projectile, but it has a added benefit, a massive benefit in my eyes, where the projectile pierces players. So you can end up, if you play correctly, you can damage the whole team. You also get the stacks to use your Ren Soul. It doesn't do the most damage per second, far from it. It's 700 DPS, which is really not great. But it's the fact that you could be applying that DPS to multiple targets that I think boosts his primary's effectiveness. The projectile size is also pretty sizable, making it easy to use. I'm gonna put it the bottom of A tier. If it had a little more potency, I would put it like above Betty and Dredge. But because it doesn't have the potency, like a lot of times you could just dive on Seris and laugh at her. I mean, now she's gonna be stunning you for agony, but you know. Damage-wise, not too much to fear. Up next we have...
build resilience.
Yeah! And then get some Illuminate too, just to make sure you can stalk her. Up next we have Sha Lin with Longbow. It's pretty much Imani Pyreball, smaller projectile, it's a bow and arrow. It charges a bit slower at 1.5 seconds, but there is no, like, cast in between cast time, so it's just 1.5 second fire rate. 1000 damage when capped out. And you are slowed while using the primary. I believe it's... Let me see, does it tell me here? You're slowed by 10%. That's not a lot, but still, it is a drawback. The projectiles also do arc a little bit, so that can be annoying. Projectile's also not huge. It does have that great benefit, though, where if you hit a flanker with this, like, good luck diving him. Because that's half of their health gone. Also, Sha Lin does 666.66 DPS. So you know what, I'm going to put him right next to Io. Because they both have the same damage per second. Hold on, we'll put it...
Why is every bow user in this game cursed?
I don't know. We'll put it like that. I think Io's a wee bit better just because you could just keep firing. You're a little more lenient. If you miss a shot, it's okay. Whereas Sha Lin, you have that huge downtime if you miss. But up next, we have Skye. With the wrist crossbow, does 130 damage, not 135. 130 damage every 0.1 second for a pretty sizable DPS, 1,300. But the fall off on this thing is god awful. It is terrible how bad the fall off is on this. You have no poking tools as a flanker, and on top of having just the worst base kit in the game, you have, like, you can't engage from a distance. You have to use your poison bolts, which is your only good ability to poke at a distance, and people can heal through that. It doesn't apply caught. But the thing is, up close, when you're fighting a tank, those poor tanks, they melt. It's just the second you try fighting something that's not a tank up close, yeah, you die. It can headshot, so I guess there's that bonus. Oh god, I want to put it... You know what, I'm going to put it with Moji. I'm going to put it above Moji. Because it pretty much has the same problems that Moji does, where it's best at close range, but Skye, like, can't do any... Skye kind of struggles in close range sometimes. You can't really escape once she's there. What are you going to do, pop hidden? That gets cancelled by a cripple because it's such a movement skill. I don't know, Alex, you're the resident Skye hater. What do you think?
I just think she dies to Sim because of her kid alone.
I mean, when we get to abilities, like almost all of her abilities, I can guarantee you will probably be in that tier, but her primary, it's like okay. The damage fall off... Oh, that damage fall off really sucks, though. At least Moji can, like, scamper in to close some distance. And Moji has slightly higher base health. Top of C tier. Hot take. Skye's wrist crossbow, top of C tier. We'll leave it at that. Next up, we have Strix pistol. Everybody hated this thing at one point, and then Strix got clobbered with nerfs. Thank God. I'm sorry, I hate this champion. I really don't want him buffed. So, the Talon pistol... Oh my god, Strix is a terrorist in the Overwatch universe. No wonder he sucks. He's part of Talon with Doomfist and those idiots. Okay, so Talon pistol does 165 damage every 0.15 seconds. It has a DPS of 1,100. Recently, they did do a very nice quality of life buff to this where you can hold your primary to keep shooting. You don't have to keep clicking. Um, it does have spread, and it does have recoil. Pretty heavy, I might add. Also, the fall off is awful on this. It only has 12 shots, so you run out of bullets really quick. It's supposed to be, like, not great at close range. It's supposed to be, like, okay if you get dived. I actually think Skye wrist crossbow is better. I think Octavia unscoped is better. I think Lex is better. I think Bomb King is better. I think... Yeah, I'll put it below Inara. I think normal Androxus is slightly worse. But then we get to something that still has been nerfed quite a bit, but is still incredibly strong in my eyes. This is Strix's sniper rifle. Now, it does have some drawbacks, like, you have to scope in to use this. If you try using it unscoped, the spread is insane. You will miss point-blank shots because of how inaccurate this thing is. But the benefit is, when you scope in, there's no charge time, like with Kinessa. So you could just pop in, shoot, go in stealth, move somewhere else, pop in, shoot. You don't have to hold your charge like Kinessa does. The pulse fire is a little slower than Kinessa charging, from what I recall. No, I think it's better. Oh, this is such a hot take. Do we think Strix Sniper Rifle is the top of A tier, the second best primary in the game? That does not seem right.
Probably, yeah, because it doesn't really have a charge time. It's basically a Team Fortress 2 sniper.
You know what? We're also ranking this on Onslaught, y'all. And Strix can sit in the back by his spawn doors. You can't dive him. Primal Court. Okay, we definitely gotta, like, change our A tier before we finish. Up next we have Talus with the Vera Charger. This is a SMG just like Jenos. It does 110 damage every 0.095 seconds for a DPS of 1,157. Which, it's kind of like Corvus, where it has high numbers, but a lot of times you feel like you won't be doing much. But I mean, it's decent damage. It does have a bit of spread, and I think the damage fall-off's kind of harsh. It does have a lot of bullets, though. You have like 40 bullets by default, I think. Ooh, I don't know where to put this. I'm gonna put it, like, behind Corvus, just because it's essentially the same weapon. Ooh, I don't know. It's hard to tell, too, because most Taluses you fight don't even use this. They just see you and pop overcharge, and that's it. You're gone. Which, I guess overcharge is based off the default weapon, just with a faster fire rate. So, I mean, I guess it's worthy of A tier, right?
Yeah.
Alright, up next, we have our boy, the rock of our community. It is Terminus the Train with the Massacre Axe. I'm sorry, I love the name of that. Does 650 damage every 1.1 seconds for a DPS of 590.9. You can hit multiple targets with it, but it has one major downside that none of the other characters in this game have. It's a melee weapon. I love that it's a melee weapon. It is so fun to get in someone's face and slice their throat off. But
I think you slice more than their throat off with that thing.
But the second someone's out of your range, what do you do? You literally cannot fight back unless you're using your Calamity Blasts. And if you're using a build where you have to hold your Calamity Blasts to be more effective in melee range, So
Good thing Nimble exists.
Yeah. But there is an added benefit, like I talked about the point tank battle. Oftentimes it's like enemies tickling each other. With Terminus Massacre Axe, I feel like you can put up more of a fight because you do have higher DPS. A little bit, not by much, but higher DPS than the other main tanks on point. So, I don't know, not having range is a huge downside though. Do we think this is B tier, or should we put it in C tier just because of that downside?
Personally, I think it's B tier because with the right build, it's you pretty much can't. You pretty much can't escape it. You pretty much
Yeah,
can't escape it.
if you go move speed, damage reduction, the train build, which is how I got my 70% win rate with Terminus, by the way, you kind of are unstoppable in some scenarios.
You're welcome, by the way.
I love that build. And the thing is, Terminus is a point tank, so ideally you want to be fighting the point. So sometimes the downside doesn't even matter because people have to come to you, otherwise you're going to contest the point.
The point being their spawn.
Alright, controversial take. I'm going to put it in B tier, below Cassie crossbow, but above Ruckus miniguns. What do you think that's an okay spot for it?
Yeah.
Alright, up next we have Tiberius, Tony the Tiger, with Bladed Chakrams. These deal 650 damage every 0.7 seconds for a DPS of 928.57. And the projectiles have a unique feature where they can ricochet off of surfaces and deal reduced damage, 500 damage in that case. The ricochet feature is nice. Like, if you catch somebody in a small room, you could just... Even if you miss, you could still probably hit them. Projectile size is pretty generous. Hits hard, 650 is a lot. I mean, it's literally just like a modified Cassie bow. I think it's a wee bit better because you do have the ricochet shots for a little bit of leniency, unlike Cassie, where if you miss, you miss. Yeah, I think B above Cassie's okay, right? It's like... It's literally just a standard Paladins weapon with a little bit added on. Hey, no, we put that above Lian. Oh, now I'm confused. Do you think we should put this at high B tier? I don't think it's that good, though. Like, I think it's better than Lian Cassie now that I'm thinking about it. Because it's like that baseline mid-tier weapon, but with a little bit of an added benefit.
Yeah, it's at least better than Leon Cassie.
I'm actually going to put it above Evie and Maeve. Just because it's a little more versatile than those two. With these two, there's like a little bit of a skill curve to get the weapon down. Where with this, you just shoot it.
So you're saying Tiberius is for the bitches.
I'm not saying his primary is difficult. Make of that what you will. Alright, up next we have everybody's favorite, Torvald. With Gauntlet. So this thing has actually been buffed pretty nicely recently. It's had a bunch of nice changes over the years. So it does 200 damage every 0.25 seconds for a DPS of 800. You have the same DPS as the bully tanks Raum and Ruckus, but it's a projectile, so you do... Actually, no, it does have damage fall off. It does have damage fall off, but it's not intense. It's very light damage fall off. You can't headshot with it. You have less clip size, obviously. But you're not slowed when using it like you are with Raum and Ruckus. And it's on and off tank with actual defensive abilities. You don't exist just to shoot. You can shoot on top of doing other things. Like, I think it's pretty good, honestly. Like, hot take, I think it's an A tier. Just because it's an easy-to-use weapon. It has pretty good damage. And you have the rest of Torvald's kit to, like, do other things. I'm gonna put it above Azan. No, I'm gonna put it above Grohk. I think it's a little better than Grohk. Torvald in A tier. What is this tier list? Yellow Ninja, I'm up-subbing. How dare you? Up next, we have everybody's favorite, Tyra, with the auto rifle.
The privileged gun.
Funny enough, Tyra's kit has been annoying over the years, but her primary is like the least annoying thing about her. Because a while ago, they actually lowered the damage of it. So now it does 105 damage every 0.9 seconds for a DPS of 1,116. Pretty decent. There is fall off on this. It's a hit scan weapon. The spread is... It has kind of a tight spread. It's pretty accurate. I mean, it's really just okay. Like, there's really nothing amazing to say. It's just like another mid-tier weapon. I'll put it above Terminus. Below Cassie, above Terminus. Like, really, there's nothing special about it. It's just a gun. It's a machine gun. It's an AK-47, that's it. Just doesn't feel as impactful as, like, a Left 4 Dead 2 AK, but, you know, different games. Alright, up next we have Vatu with the kunai. You fire 3 kunai in an arc from your hands, dealing 280 damage per kunai. So if you hit all 3, you're doing 840 damage per burst for a DPS of 933. I'm gonna be honest, I do not like these things. I really wanted to main Vatu, but I had to drop him because I just could not get a hang on this primary fire. It has so many downsides. First of all, you have spread, a serious spread, because he's throwing 3 like a shotgun blast. You have a arc. It's an arcing projectile, so at further ranges, you need to aim upwards so you can adjust for the arc. And it is the only weapon in the flank class, the only projectile weapon in the flank class, to have damage fall off. Which I don't understand, because at longer ranges, you're only going to be hitting 1 kunai. And it does, like, what, 150 damage? That is nothing. That is nothing. That is garbage. And up close, the spread can screw you, because you have to be constantly moving as Vatu. And the DPS isn't, like, that great. I'm putting it C. Above Skyr's crossbow. I think it's better than that, but I think Koga claws are better, actually. Up next, we have the champion with not 1, not 2, but 3 primary fires, and his name is 7.
Yeah. Fucking special child, just like Final Fantasy VII with Square Enix.
Privileged bitch over here. So, first off, we have the automatic fire, does 200 damage every 0.175 seconds for a DPS of 1,000. No, that can't be right. No, no way. No, I'm sorry, it's 1,142. My spreadsheet's a little messed up on that one. 1,142 DPS on that. Which, I mean, it's literally just Corvus. So I'm going to put it above Corvus. It's slightly better. It's really nothing special. It's just, it packs a decent punch and it's an easy to use weapon. Spread's okay. Damage fall off is okay. Next we have the burst mode, where you fire 6 150 damage shots every 0.65 seconds. So it's a 3-round burst. It fires technically 2 bullets at once. DPS is exactly 1,000 on that. It has like a little bit of spread, and it has random recoil patterns, which I do not understand at all. Also, this thing has damage fall off, and I feel like it's more harsh than the auto fire, which I just don't understand. If you're like, I guess the concept with 7 is they wanted to make it so you have a primary fire for every scenario. Like, you have the auto fire for mid-range, you have the burst for long range, and the magnum for close range. But it's like the burst mode sucks at long range, so like that defeats the purpose of it. And at close range, the auto fire and mag dump are better, so like, why would you ever use this? I'm gonna put it below Vatu. Then we have easily the most controversial primary fire in the game. That is 7's mag dump, where he drops his whole magazine at once. For every 10 bullets in the mag, you deal 450 damage. So if you hit all 40 shots, you are doing, I believe it's 1,700 damage. 1,700? No, 1,800 damage. Which, comboed with Deft Hands, if you cap out Deft Hands, you have the real highest DPS in the game. 3,035 DPS. But there are some downsides. 1, you're consuming all your ammo, so you have to get Deft Hands for it. 2, the recoil is insane on this thing, and you need a loadout card to make it better. And 3, the range is really short. Like, incredibly short. The damage fall-off starts immediately with this thing. If you're point blank on the tank, yeah, the poor thing's gonna die. If you're anywhere else, it's very inconsistent, and I don't think a primary fire that requires Deft Hands and 5 points in a loadout card is that good. like, hot take, I know. It does have its moments, yes. I'm gonna put
Bottom
it
B
above.
tier?
You think bottom B?
Yeah.
Alright, bottom B. Up next we have Rightfully Terrified, Victor with, I think it's just called Assault Rifle. It does, yeah, Assault Rifle. It does 135 damage.
Yeah, it definitely makes me a very salty person.
It does 135 damage every 0.1 seconds, and you can scope in with this to reduce the spread completely. You now deal with a little bit of recoil. It's very easy to manage, but at the cost of moving a little slower. Hot take, I want to put this in A tier. Just, it has good damage, it's versatile, it's so easy to use. And the DPS is good. Hot take, I'm putting it in A tier. I'm going to put it right below Octavia's. How controversial would it be to put this at the top of A tier?
Not
Do you think
really.
it's better than the snipers?
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Because it has the versatility. Alright, hot take, y'all can disagree all you want. We're going to put it at the top of A tier. Up next we have Vivian, with literally the same weapon, kind of. It's the light machine gun, does 160 damage every 0.14 seconds, has 70 rounds in the mag, so you could fire for quite a long time, but your move speed is cut by 50% when using this. And you can scope in with, like Victor, and be slowed even further if you want to be. This thing used to be a beast. And then they cut the numbers on it. And for that, I don't think it's that great anymore. It kind of lost its punch. Like, it still has the massive downside that it used to have when it did better damage. Like, I think they should have lowered the move speed penalty when they lowered the damage. That would have balanced it out. But you still have, like... You are so easy to hit when using this thing. And you're going to be using this thing most of the time, because 70 bullets, you're going to... That's Vivian. Vivian's the Raum of the damage class, pretty much.
Yeah. Combine that with Opportunity and Chaos, and just kind of, like, shreds people, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Victor, where it is versatile. I just think that downside is huge. There also is... I don't think there's screen shake in the scoped in fire, but her weapon shakes around quite a bit. It's like blah, 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 blah. Whereas like Victor's only shakes around if you get shot while you're scoped in. The hip fire is better, I will say that. The spread is better. Damage fall off, I think it's about the same as Vic. I just don't think this is an A tier anymore. If it was like old Vivian, like easy top of A tier would have been better than Victor. But it's just lacking stats-wise. Like, it has... The basis is good, it's just the numbers aren't. Kind of like Seris, where her damage is lacking, but... I'm gonna put it above... Top of B tier, above Death Hasten's Lex. Alright, almost done. Next up, we got Vora with the... I think it's called the Deadly Scythe. Yep, Deadly Scythe. So, this is another combo-type weapon, where... It fires one medium hit for 470 damage over a second, then 2 light hits and a heavy hit. The light hits do 300 damage over 0.35 seconds, and the heavy hit does 680 damage over 1.2 seconds. As you might notice, I'm saying over a certain amount of seconds. Vora does bleed damage. So you have a little bit of burst. The medium and light attacks do a burst of 100 damage, and then the rest of the damage comes in as bleed over time. Whereas the heavy hit does a burst of 450, and the rest is bleed over time. So because of this, Vora isn't very bursty. But, I mean, it's okay. The projectiles are very sizable, I must say. You don't have to reload, which is nice. And there is kind of a hidden benefit of the bleed, where if you tag somebody, and if they go around a wall, you could pretty much tell where they are. Like, if you tag a Skye, you could follow her through Invis. Also, no damage fall-off. They are slow projectiles, but you don't have to worry about damage fall-off, which is nice. I I mean, it's not an outrageous primary fire. Like, Vora does kind of struggle with poking compared to other flanks. It's more of like a bide your time tool. But I mean, it does its job. What do you think about Alex? About this one, Alex? You've been playing Vora a little bit, right?
Yeah. Personally, I think it's really good. I think it's better than. I honestly think it's better than Evie's.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I also want to say it's. I also want to say it's like top of the B tier out of pure bias, but you know.
All right, hold on. Let's go through this. I do agree with you. I think it's better than Evie. Better than Tiberius.
No. Then again, Tiberius really is bitch friendly, so.
Yeah, alright, sorry, Vora. You're staying there.
Yeah, just stay with your bestie.
Alright, up next we have Willow with the Wand of Overgrowth.
She looks so disturbed looking at Tiberius.
Let me see. This does 500 damage every 0.75 seconds. It's like a rocket launcher disguised as a flower. The damage on this thing sucks, I'm sorry. Willow does 666 DPS. But this is a damage character, okay? The explosion radius is very generous, which is what would stop this from being like really low tier. But in my opinion, I feel like this primary fire requires you to play the Blast Flower talent, which increases your damage on subsequent hits, to be viable. Like, by itself, it is so lacking. I do think because of its generosity, it is better than some of these other ones. Ray Sigil. I'm gonna put it below Ray Sigil. I think Ray Sigil's better. Yep, I'll do that. Up next, we have the most controversial champion in the game, the Worm, Yagurath, with Caustic Spray. Oh crap, Yagurath has... Oh, the other one's an ability, never mind. Thank god. I was gonna be like, wait, she has 2 primary fires. Technically she does, but the other one's an ability, so... We'll save that one. So, Caustic Spray, it's similar range to Fernando's Flamethrower. You do 360 damage every 0.1 second for 360 DPS, but if you shoot the ground or you hit enemies, it drops an acid pool that slows enemies for 15% and deals a bonus, I believe it's 100 DPS, 33 damage every 0.25, 120-ish DPS. So your total DPS with Yagurath is 492. Okay, I apparently calculated that before. I think the acid pools are really good. You can like spread them out for zoning prior. It slows enemies. You're a giant tank, just throwing up on them. It sets up engagements with your team. I do think it's better than Imani Frostbolts because they're slowed in that pool for as long as they stay there. So if they end up staying in the pool longer, they're taking more damage. They're getting slowed.
And since people are stupid, yeah.
I don't think it's like the best because it is limited by range. And you do run out of acid pretty quick, I noticed. I actually think it's better than Terminus X. Because it does kind of the same function, hitting multiple enemies who come on the point, or wherever you're near. But you have the added benefit of slowing them. And dealing bonus damage. Like, you could still be doing damage with the acid pools while you're, like, running away or something. Whereas Terminus can't. So, I'll put it there. Up next, we have Ying with... what was this thing called?
Illusion Mirror?
Illusory mirror.
Ah.
Fire a burst of energy every 0.5 seconds from your mirror over a short period of time, hitting 5 times over 0.2 seconds for 90 damage per shot. Ying actually has some pretty decent DPS. I take that back. 642. Sorry, I was thinking of Focusing Lens. It's okay. It's on par with, like, Ray and Io. It does have damage fall off because it's technically a hit scan ability, but you can't headshot with it, so that sucks. You do also have to kind of, like, semi-track your target over the short duration, otherwise you miss ticks. I don't think it's awful, I just don't think it's that great. Do we think bottom of B tier, or should we put in the top of C?
Top of C.
I think it's better than Batu Kunai. Alright, second to last, we actually, no, I'm sorry, this is last. Sorry, I kept Imani's bald-ass head over there for some reason. Last up, we have Zhin with the Inferno Blade. This is another combo-type weapon. It has 2 light... Oh, okay, it just says 2 swings. It has 2 light attacks and then a heavy attack. So the 2 light swings do 400 damage, and then the final heavy swing does 700 damage. This combo happens over 2 seconds. The 2 400 damage slashes are very short range, with the final 700 slash being... I think it actually doesn't have a range limit, and it actually pierces targets, so you have a little bit of utility with that as well. I think it's good. Like, it's versatile, huge projectiles again, just like Bora, except it packs a little more of a punch. What's the DPS on this thing? 750. More than Vora. Vora has 603. So, it is versatile. You are limited by range, of course. You only have the heavy attack to fight at range, so I don't think we could put it higher than Tiberius. Think that's okay?
Yeah.
Alright, let me take a sip of water and then we'll review this. This is a long video. I'm gonna have to go back after we finish this. I'm gonna be like, hey y'all, this is a long video, so go do your dishes. Alright, so at the bottom of the bottom, we'll die to Symmetra 100% of the time. Fernando, Flamethrower. Next up, we have Barik, Tinkering, Grover, Throwing Axe, Lilith, Heart of Crimson. Yeah, I'm comfortable with the C tier. I'm sorry, D tier. Next up, we have Androxus, Normal Revolver, which sucks. Strix Pistol, Inara, Stone Spear, Makoa Cannon, Ash, Burst Cannon, right? I forgot. Bomb King, Lex, Primary, Normal Lex. Octavia Unscoped, Skye, 7 Burst, Vatu, Ying. Okay. I'm comfortable with our C tier. I am. Then we have the most in B tier. We have 7 Mag Dump at the bottom, Koga Claws, Buck Shotgun, Barik Shotgun, Khan Heavy Repeater, Kinessa Carbine Rifle, Jenos Star Splitter, Furia, Pyroblade, Moji Spit and Spray, Pip, Potion Launcher, Imani Frostbolts, Willow, Wand of Overgrowth, Ray Sigil, Jenos Binary Star, Ruckus, Miniguns, Terminus Massacre Axe, Yagoroth Caustic Spray, Tyra Auto Rifle, Cassie Crossbow, Lian Heirloom Rifle, Maeve Daggers, Evie Ice Staff, I think, Bora, Deadly Sights, and yeah, I'm comfortable with those. Tiberius, Blade Chakrams, Sha Lin, Longbow, Io. I forgot what hers is called. Moonbow, I think. Something bow. Drogoz Rocket Launcher, Imani Pyroball, Lex, Death Hastens Magnums, Vivian, LMG at the top of B. Yeah, from B down, I'm like very comfortable with where I place everything. At the top of A, at the bottom of A, we have Seris. I'm not actually sure about this now. Because DPS-wise, it's kind of lacking. It does have the 2 huge strengths of being a piercing projectile that's huge. Is that worth it being A tier, though?
Good question. I personally don't think so.
Yeah, I'm moving it down. We'll put it above Io Lightbow. Lightbow, that's what it's called. Sorry, not Moonbow, Lightbow. Okay, so now at the bottom of A, we have Dredge, Cursed Howitzer, Betty La Bomba, Grenade Launcher, Azan Judgment. Azan Judgment's gotta move down. I'm sorry, it's not that great. Is it A tier, though? I mean, it does pack a punch, though. Yeah, I'm fine with it being low A tier. Grohk, Lightning Staff, Torvald, Talus, Corvus, 7 Auto, Koga SMGs, constant bullets, Androxus revolver, Saati, hand cannon, Bomba, Octavia scoped, Kinessa sniper, strict sniper, Victor A.S. Atlas. Alright, I mean, it looks weird because we have, like, Victor, who's not really the best champion at, like, the second best primary. And Atlas, we have a guy who doesn't do the most DPS at the top, but, like... You know what? I think I'm comfortable with this. Any complaints, Alex, before we wrap up? Atlas at the top. The top three we have is Atlas, Victor, and then Strict Sniper.
I don't want to give Victor and Strix any more credit, so leave Atlas as the only one in the S tier.
Alright, Atlas is the only one in S tier. Okay, I'm changing one last thing. I'm going to put Octavia Scopefire as the third best. Because even though she does lose out to snipers, she doesn't really have to worry too much. Like, if you play right at mid-range, you're fine, whereas snipers can get outmaneuvered in mid-range. Yep. So, our top three are Atlas, the only one in S tier because it's just so versatile. Then we have Victor Assault Rifle, again, versatile. Octavia Scopefire, again, versatile. That's really the name of the game here. I feel like this will probably be the most controversial. This was harder than I thought, honestly. I think when we do abilities and talents, it's going to be a lot easier. But, yeah, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed listening to us talk. Hope you did some dishes, went for a walk or something, instead of us sitting here talking about Paladins for an hour and a half. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.